Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and today I'm gonna play Chariots of Fire by Richard Burke and Mark Herman. And you can see it's part of the Great Battles of History series. It's volume 14. And it covers, I'm not sure, something about 7 or 9 or something like that scenarios. Some important battles from the Bronze Age. So right now we're going to do the earliest battle, and I'm going to do not all of them, don't be afraid. I'm going to do maybe 2 or so, and then I'm going to do something else, and maybe then I'm going to come back to that. So I'm going to stay a little bit in the chronological order here, and but I'm also going to do something really trashy in between. I got something in mind, so for the people who don't like these serious games too much, there are a few other interesting things coming up. Okay, so let's set up this game. Okay, so we're gonna do the Battle of Sumer from 2320 BCE. And this is about the unification of Sumer and Acadia. The Akkadian king Sargon versus the Sumerian king Lugal-Zagesi. And basically we know only very little about the battle. And that is the reason, well, about most of these battles. And that is the reason why most of these battles take place on this completely featureless map. So you can see here all these different battles. They take all place on this map here. And just to avoid any confusion, we have actually a map key here that indicates that the white hexes are clear. Okay, so we see the Akkadians under Sargon, and they're going to deploy their units here in this area, and the Sumerians, they will then show up over there. There are specific rules which units we can use, and well, basically we are free to deploy them in any way we want in this area. But well, I have not a lot of idea about tactical war games, nor about tactical warfare in general, nor about the tactical warfare in this period. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply place the units more or less like it is done here. Maybe I'm going to try it a little different, and well, then we see what happens. Actually, who's got to start first? I think, yeah, here the Sumerian player deploys its unit first in any hexes in row 3200 or higher, blah, 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 and between hexes in rows 12 and XX 32. Units may be faced in any direction. Okay, fine. So let's do this. Okay, so now I'm on the other side with of the table. I know it's not perfect with the light, but I just want to show you how the Sumerians were set up. Well, we have here the King's Standard. So this is also our rally point. This is, gosh, what was his name? I think it was Lugal-Zagesi. This is kind of an abbreviation here. And then we have a battle wagon. That's what this guy is sitting on, which gives him a it makes him basically faster. So let's take a closer look at a single unit here. Here on the right we have the unit type SE, that's shock infantry. Nearly all our units are shock infantry. And basically this is the pre-chariot time. So we won't see any chariots during this battle. Down here in the lower right are two numbers. The right number, the white on the black ground, is the speed, the range they can walk, the number of hexes they can walk when they're activated. And the left number is the TQ, the troop quality number. So that's basically what you need for, I don't know, combat checks and lots of things actually. It's also their life points or the number of cohesion hits they can take. And as you can see, I have all these shock infantry guys in front, the stronger ones on the flank, and one stronger unit right in the center. And then I have light infantry, so these are basically ranged weapon guys a little behind. They can shoot over the shock infantry, which could be an advantage. And also, if the enemy kills one of my shock infantry, he has to advance one space. That brings him right in front of the light infantry, and then they can do a reaction fire. So that might be also a good point to leave them a little behind. In addition, they are pretty vulnerable. So we have here, that is a small S here next to the light infantry. You can see that black dot with an S. So that's a slingshot guy. This is a guy with a B, a self bow, and this is a J javelin. And this blue counter mix is usually a mix of the Hittites, but in this scenario it's also used for the Sumerians. Okay. Now let's set up the Akkadians, and I'm gonna try to make this kind of asymmetric here so that it becomes a little more interesting. The problem with this specific scenario is, well, first of all, we have no interesting terrain features. Second of all, we have exactly the same forces. The only difference is that Sargon, he's a little stronger, the Akkadian leader, than this other guy, Lugal Tsagesi. Okay. So here we're back, and I know it looks pretty weird. Now my idea is, I wanted to divide my forces. I wanted to have this kind of main wing, and I want to try to come here a little bit from the right. So maybe I can come from the flank where they are a little bit more vulnerable. And if they should react to this, I have these guys here as a reserve, so maybe I can make my way around and then try to either encircle them or come also from the other flank. The problem with that is, though, that you can see here, that's my commander, Sargon, and usually you have an overall commander and then some wing commanders. Now in this scenario, which is all very simple, you don't have these wing commanders, you only have the overall commander. And these guys also have a command range. In this case, it's the 7 here on the left. And that means only the units that are within 7 hexes of him are in command range, or in command. Now, the other units can still do something, but their options are very restricted. Basically, all they can do is they can move and fire. Now, shock units don't fire. Shock infantry doesn't fire. So they can basically only move, and then if the other guys come closer, we have to find a solution. Maybe, I mean, he's very fast on his battle wagon. He can move 9 spaces. So with one activation, he can move from one force to the other. That's no big deal at all. So maybe we can come closer with these guys then, or we can move him to the other ones to make it possible for these to do an attack. Or maybe this is all complete bullshit. But yeah, let's try it. I mean, I want it a little more interesting than just 2 lines crushing each other. And if it's completely symmetrical, this is possibly a little too boring. But we'll see about that. So what's the goal of the game? Well, each unit has route points, and that is basically the troop quality. So this unit has 5 route points, this unit has 2 route points. And if a unit takes cohesion hits equal or more than his route points, then, well, it routes. And then you do another check, and if you then roll higher than the troop quality, it will not only be routed, but it will also be eliminated. It simply flees from the battle. And that's now the goal of the game. We want to each faction wants to destroy units worth 20 route points. So we have here these markers. That marker is from the Acadians, the green one, and the red one is of the Sumerians. So on the one who's first at 0, he's lost the scenario. The scenario also allows heroic combat between the 2 leaders. I'm not so sure if I really want to use that. I mean, you can... One leader can challenge the other into a heroic combat. It sounds a little complicated to me. Well, maybe I'll do this later on, but right now I'm not sure if I want to. So, and yeah, that's basically it. Now, how does that work? Okay, we have the game is played in rounds, and these rounds are divided in, well, turns, activations. Here we have a sequence of play. So, first at the beginning of a round, players roll a dice and add the initiative. This is here the 4, and the other guy has a 3 of their overall commander to the die roll. And that shows which player does have the initiative. So we start here with these guys, the Acadians. Okay, now that's a 6 plus 4 is a 10. And the other guys, okay, they only have a 7, so that means the Acadians have the initiative. Okay, now they have these two counters here, and usually you have more counters. You have basically activation counters for all of your different wings, and you know, this time basically you have only a single activation counter for all your units. This is this Acadia infantry. And then, in addition, you have a second counter, which is the Acadia momentum. And right now we can choose one of these two counters. Well, in this scenario, the options are very limited. So we take this infantry count because that allows us for certain to activate our units. The momentum is not clear. The others go into the cup. And then in the following turns, or activation turns, a marker is drawn, and this way it's randomly determined who can activate when. It's just at the first turn of a round that you roll for initiative, and then you can choose the first marker that you want to play. Okay, so what can we do now? Well, there are three basic options in this situation. We could move and fire. All units can do that as long as they are not routed. The units that are in command, they can recover. That means they can remove 2 cohesion hits. And they could also try to disengage. Under specific certain circumstances, if the leader is with the standard, then the routed units near the standard within 3 hexes, they can attempt to rally and remove their routed marker. Okay, that's basically all we can do right now. So I think for the beginning we'll simply move to the enemy, and so these guys all have a movement of 4. These guys here behind, they have a movement of 5. So well, I think I still want to try to come a little bit from the flank, so I think I'm actually going to move 1, 2... Oh yeah, it's important to realize these guys, they have a facing. And you always face to the vertex of such a hex. You can change facing, costs you 1 movement point. Usually you cannot face in this direction, except you move in columns, which is possible for the shock infantry or the heavy infantry. But right now I don't want to do that. I simply want to move ahead, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think I simply follow the other guys, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now this guy could move 5, but I think for now I'm simply moving here, that way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this guy moves right here. Now, this guy, the leader, he can usually move 9 spaces. In this scenario, there is a special rule. Here he can only move 9 spaces as long as he's on this battle wagon. If he's unmounted, I think it's 5. I'm not absolutely certain. But, well, right now he is on the wagon, so where does he want to go? I think he wants to go simply here. No big surprise. And, well, it's, I think with these guys, I'm going to do a similar maneuver. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 4. Okay, now that's the end of this first turn of the Acadians. Okay, so then we draw. I mean, it's a little ridiculous with these three things here in the cup, but okay. Okay, now that's Acadia momentum. So what does that mean? Well, this is not a guaranteed activation, but well, this momentum chip. And that means now that they could roll a die, and if they roll equal or less to this initiative rating of the overall commander, this time of 4, then they could do another action. The problem is here, the shock infantry, if they move a second time in a turn, then they would take a cohesion hit. So I'm really not sure if I want to do this. I mean, I could recover. Maybe it's an option. Might give me an advantage here. Well, first of all, I'm going to roll the die. Well, a 0 is, in this game, actually a 0 and not a 10. So we don't have to choose here. We are not allowed to take this momentum action. So, this is now the activation marker of the Hittites. What we could do now is we could try to trump this marker. Well, basically the Hittites could have also tried to trump the momentum. What does that mean? Well, it works a little similar to the momentum marker if the enemy draws a marker, but that doesn't apply to the first marker of the round, the one that is chosen by the guy who has the initiative. But if the enemy draws a marker from the cup, the other guy is allowed to trump that. He can do this once per round. So once until all markers are gone from the cup, and then he can, when he has to wait until they are replaced, and then he can do this again. To do this trump action, you have to roll against the initiative value of your overall leader, and if you're successful, then simply you can do the action. You can activate one of your wings, or in this case, you can activate your people. If you're not successful, though, the enemy can use his marker just as usual, and in addition, he can try to use his momentum marker a second time. So if it was already drawn, he can put it back in the cup and then try to use it later. Or if it's still in the cup, if he draws it, he can try to use it, and then he can put it back in the cup, and then he can try to use it later. So there is a risk, if you try to trump the other guy, it's possible that it comes back to you. The point is that Sargon is not bad. With an initiative of 4, that's not bad. And the other guy has only an initiative of 3, so basically there is a better chance for him to try it than for the other guy. The problem is, though, again, with these troops, a second activation is problematic because they would get a cohesion hit if they move a second time. So you basically only want to do this if it really gives you a big advantage. With chariots or better light infantry or something, that might make more sense because they don't take that cohesion hit. Only the shock infantry and the heavy infantry take that hit for moving twice in a single round. So right now I'm not going to try it, and the Sumerians can now do their standard activation. So the Sumerians actually, they are a little cautious. They just moved a few steps ahead, only 2 hexes. They can still change their facing, and they're waiting a little bit. They are pretty confident that the Akkadians will get trouble because these units are out of command. So, well, we'll see what that brings us. And now the Sumerians have the momentum. So let's see, they roll. Now this is less than a 3. And wait a second, I think I messed this up. I think actually with less, you need to roll less. If you roll higher than this command rating, then you're not allowed to use that momentum. Damn it. Leadership, initiative rating. Yeah, you want to roll lower. Exactly. So I could have done something here with these guys, because I rolled a 0, and that is lower than the initiative rating of Sargon, so it would have been okay to activate these guys a second time, but I don't want to because of these cohesion hits. And the Sumerians have a similar problem, so I think they won't do anything neither. Okay, so Sargon managed to win the initiative again, and he again took this infantry chit. So the Akkadians moved even further, well, I don't know, let's say east, and they stayed a little back, a little more back than the others, but, well. And then it's again the Hittites. They can now try to use their momentum. Now that's a 1, that's definitely no success. Okay, and it's now the Akkadians again, and well, I'm not gonna even try it because of these cohesion hits. So now the Hittites can take their standard action, and I think they're gonna try now actually to run here as fast as they can. Maybe they can attack these guys before the others make it. That would be an interesting maneuver. So well, let's give it a shot. Okay, now these guys will actually change facing, so that costs them a single point, and then they will move 1, 2, 3. So if you move forward, you can always, so this guy can either go here or there. I mean, you've probably noticed that with my movement actions until now. So if I want to go more in this direction, maybe even come from that side, I gotta change my facing here, but not all of them actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe that one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, but he's not allowed to move 4 actually. He can only move 3 spaces because of his change of facing. Wait a second. That's 1, 2, yeah, it's fine, okay. So let's do the rest of camera. Okay, so these guys are now on their way down here. The light infantry moved a little bit ahead because they are faster than the others. And by the way, stacking is not allowed in this game except for the leaders. They can be stacked with any other units without any problems. If you want to move through friendly units, you can basically do that, but if a shock infantry or heavy infantry is involved in this, then I'm not sure, one of the two units takes a cohesion hit. I think actually just a second, I gotta check that. Well, here, the shock infantry and the heavy infantry units, they incur a hit, and you gotta spend an additional movement point. Yeah. Okay, so again, we're at the end of the turn, and let's see what happens next. So the Acadians, they also turned now to the left, trying to get to attack the other guys from behind, and they have fallen a little back and try not to get caught by these, somehow trying to make it back here to the other ones. We'll see about that. Now we have the momentum from the Hittites, and now actually the Hittite player is, or the Sumerian player is going to try to do it, risking maybe even a cohesion hit, because now he really wants to be fast. He really wants to cut off these guys. So let's see. Now that is a 4. That is probably not good enough. No, he needs a 3. Bad luck for him. So he can't do anything here. Okay, it's them again. And now the Sargon is going to try to trump. So that means he has to roll a 4 or less to use that chit as his own. And well, I guess that was a 3. I think we can't say it was. Yeah, I think that was a 3. So overall, that allows him now to do this. And he's now actually moving in this direction, and that means that the shock infantry takes a cohesion hit. Okay, so they came now definitely closer to the other guys, and we placed these hit markers here underneath the shock infantry. The light infantry is fine, they didn't have to take that. And these guys didn't move. Okay, now it's the momentum of the Mitanni, and I think they... oh yeah, that... wait a second. Yeah, of course, that's me again. So... now here's the thing, I could try it now a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would actually allow me to attack this guy, but I think I don't want to take right now the second hit. I think I can wait until the start of the next turn here. I don't know, I mean, I could use my light infantry. Why not? I'm gonna try it. So let's roll a die. That was good enough. So now I could actually use my light infantry, and maybe I can take a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can fire at this guy with the slingshot. I think I'm actually gonna go for that. Well, I think I will actually definitely try this, because it will make it, it will give it restrictions, it will give the other unit restrictions in the next turn when it comes to the change of facing. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and then I can fire. By the way, usually there are these, I don't know, there are moved markers. So basically, I could place a marker that indicates that a unit has already moved this turn, which will be interesting if it comes to these extra cohesion hits for the shock troops. But in this specific scenario, because there are so little units, I think I can basically remember that. Okay, so now we entered this area here, right next to this guy, and I had to go that close because the slingshot boy, he only has a range of 1, and he's not too effective anyway. So first we got to check now here at the fire versus armor effect chart, and we have here the firing unit, which is the slingshot here. And then we have here in the third row the shock infantry. So we have here a modifier of 0. And then we have the missile range and results table. And here, slingers at 1 hex. So if we roll a 0 to 5, we do a hit. If we roll higher, there will be no hit. I just wonder if there is anything else. Dial modifiers. Well, you get a negative modifier, or it's a +1 modifier, which is negative for you. If you have a bow and are moving in the same turn, basically. And the rest is not interesting. Okay, so now let's roll that die. 1 to 5, a 0 to 5, that's what we need. And we have it. Great. So that's a hit for the other guy. And yeah, he takes a hit marker. Okay, so please don't tell me now that wasn't exciting. This guy here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he can also move adjacent to this guy, and well, I guess that's what he does. So he moves right here, and he will also attack. And his situation is even better. He has a self bow. So we have a 0 modifier here. The self bow at 1 hex. So we need a, well, if we do a 0, we do 2 hits. And 1 to 7 is a hit. Okay, that's another hit. How awesome is that? So, there we go. Okay, finally we have here the javelin one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I wonder if you can do a hit. No, you don't. We don't have a range of 2, so basically we don't really have to move there. I wonder if I should do it anyway. Hard to tell. I don't think so, actually. Oh, although, well, you know, I don't want to stand in the way for the shock troops. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I'm going somewhere here. 1, 2, 3, something like that. Okay, cool. And then I can also use or move this guy. I gotta make sure that we stay in range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That everyone stays in command range at the beginning of the next turn, which is the case. Okay, so that's the end of that round, and I think I'm going to load this up now. Guess you might have got a first impression, and I hope I haven't shocked my standard audience too much. I know that's pretty far from what I usually do, but I'm gonna be honest, I kind of enjoy it. It's fun, and well, we'll see how this battle develops. I think the Arcadians are doing better for now, because it seems like the idea to come from behind will be successful. They simply seem to be faster than the Sumerians because of their better leader in the end. They can do this momentum, they can do the trump action. They have a little bit of a better chance than the other guy, which is called... Holy moly. Yeah. What's his name? Let's do him justice here at least once. Lugal Zagesi. Well, maybe I will remember this at the end of the battle. Hope to see you then, or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.